Treaties is with us in the chamber, I'm pleased to say, this afternoon, and he will speak to you now. Cosmás Treaties, President of the Confederation of the European Real Estate Associations. I'm delighted, Mr. Treaties, to thank you for accepting our invitation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Honourable Chair. When I was elected President of the Confederation of the Brokers only 2.5 years ago, we did not have many institutional points where to raise the issues of the housing market. Some were even saying that the European Union is never going to be bothered with housing since this is a country competence. And yet, here we are. We did not give up, and here we are. We have a Commissioner for Housing, and we have this special committee that I hope and wish becomes permanent. And actually, my hopes and my efforts are towards that direction. Many people contributed to this, some of whom I see here today, and many more that are not present, and kudos goes to all of them. So we have a housing crisis. We've never had so many people without their own homes, and we never had so many homes without people. Next, please. Can we address this imbalance without the usual knee-jerk reaction about rent controls, rent caps, restrictions of owners' rights, raising property taxes, or imposing new taxes? Today, I'm going to discuss about some possible solutions towards that direction. Next, please. So, what is really the housing crisis in the European Union, in the West in general? This is basically a twin crisis. The Greeks had a word for it, as they say, and the word is astephilia, which means the pathogenic love for big city dwelling, and especially European big city dwelling. So that means that we have urban overload and rural abandonment. That means that we have massive population shift towards our cities, both within and from outside the European Union. In Greece, for example, we have over 2 million vacant homes, about a third or more than a third, in rural Greece. And so cities remain under pressure and they become unaffordable. Real estate in big cities becomes unaffordable. Next, please. But here we need a reality check. We have an equation. On the one side, it's rural abandonment, and on the other side is passion to live in the big cities. And to address the rural side, Honourable Chair, is politically difficult. It is economically slow, because in the periphery we have a lack of jobs, we have a lack of services, and we have structural mismatch. So, let's work with the easier part, which is, let's see what we can do with what we have in the cities. Next, please. In order to address the problem, we need to realize that a home is not just 4 walls and a roof. It's not just a title deed, a contract. A home is a physical shell. A home is the functional infrastructure within that shell. It's the usable interior space. It is a financial asset. And in fact, for most people, it's the most important financial asset they will ever acquire. It has to do with green policy compliance, EPBD, which was discussed and voted here in this building. And it has to do with social belonging and sustainable urban integration and so much more. Next one, please. So, why do we have so many empty urban homes? In Attica, for example, which is the prefecture of our capital city, Athens, we have about 500,000 vacant units. But you can neither buy them nor rent them. Why is that? It's not irrational. It's systemic. First, we have the legal and inheritance barriers. We have probate delays, we have multiple or missing heirs, and so on and so forth. We also have disrepair and cost. Most of our stock is built before 1980. About 80% of our stock is very old. And it's aged buildings, they need high cost for renovation. And of course, the return on investment is too low for owners, except when we're talking about short-term rentals. And the other problem that we have, and this is structural, is that most owners are actually quite aged. And for these people, these are pensioners, in most cases, they don't have the capital to renovate, and they don't have the time horizon. When you're 70 or 75, or sometimes even 60, you don't care. You just have the vacant home as a rainy day asset. Next one, please. So, is there a missing link? I think we might be in front of one. We need something like an intermediary catalyst. We need entity or entities that long-term rent, renovate, and supply to the market these vacant homes. After the long-term lease and renovation, these units go back to the market, and we'll see later on what we can do with them. But these entities can be state, they can be private, or they can be public and private partnerships. Actually, this very proposal went into my country's Socialist Party program from my friend, and I'm very grateful, Lefteris Karchimakis. Although he wants it to be a state entity, I prefer PPP. Now, these entities can act even with partial ownership. So if some heirs are missing, they can still, the remainder, they can still rent long-term these vacant homes. And they restore utility and value. Next one, please. What can this entity do? It can reuse urban vacant homes, it can repurpose underutilized buildings, it can provide social housing without ghettoization, which is very important. Because when you have one flat within a block of flats, it's very different than having many blocks of flats concentrated in one area, as you know. It can align with urban planning, and it can tackle the problem of youth housing, and so help with the demographic decline. Next one, please. So, repurposing buildings. Cities evolve, so must building uses. We can convert former uses like offices, shops, factories into homes. In the Greek example, we changed the law of the golden visa, thanks to Minister Hatzidakis, and now, because we have a special golden visa category, we have over 10,000 units being produced at the moment in Athens and in the country in general. And it is very difficult to produce this number unless you have a very good incentive. Next one, please. All this needs funding. So it can be funded by state and local authorities have the best local knowledge, by private capital when you have profit potential or subsidies, and EU funds, and here's where you come in, because renovation, sustainability, and affordability is something that has to do with your initiative and your vote. And of course, public-private partnerships where you can use private capital with public guarantees. Next one, please. So the final message is this. Thousands of homes are not dead, they are dormant. Let's activate the city's hidden housing stock. Urban reuse means climate action, it provides economic value and social cohesion. Next one, please. And with this one, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much for your presentation, which has enlightened us on many issues I know that are common